All right, guys. So welcome to another exciting episode of the Left Side View. Unfortunately, we don't have Amitabh with us today, so it's just gonna be me. I know we're coming in late, but I just hope that you bear with us. So obviously, in this episode, we are going to review all the midweek matches from the EFL Cup in England, along with La Liga. We had Serie A, and also we had some League One action. So I think we should just dive right in. So just bear with me today because I have to monitor everything as well. So yes, let's go to EFL. So we had four matches. We had initially we had Arsenal versus Sunderland, and in that match, Arsenal came out on top. Um, Arsenal gave a lot of youngsters a chance. All the players that were not really getting a chance to play in the Premier League got a chance to play in that game, and there was this youngster that people have hyped up a lot, compared him to Phil Foden, which is Charlie Patino. He came on in the 80th minute and even grabbed a goal. So yes, high hopes from him for all the Arsenal fans. And Arsenal managed to beat Sunderland 5-1, which is again, they just keep on rolling irrespective of who they play. They just always manage to keep the balance right. So Arsenal in a purple vein of form at this point in time. So they are on to the semifinals, and we'll obviously talk about who they face in the semifinals. But first, we'll talk about all the other matches. So after Arsenal, we had three matches on Wednesday. The first match that we're going to talk about is obviously our team, Chelsea. Chelsea went away to Brentford. Uh, a great match, I think, from for my money. Initially, it was very 50-50, but then in second half, the fact that Brentford hadn't really played a match for a while, that came into the picture. Plus, even though Chelsea were without a lot of players as well, but they gave three academy players, Harvey Vale, Judson Zabel, and Xavier Simons, a start. Uh, and all these players are really highly rated. Obviously, the whole academy of Chelsea is so highly rated because of the work that they do there. So initially, in the 75th minute or 70th minute, N'Golo Kante came on, and all of a sudden he just changed the course of the game. Chelsea scored two late goals. One was an own goal from Brentford's captain and defender, uh, Pontus Jensen, and along with that, uh, Christian Pulisic won a penalty, which was converted by none other than Jorginho. So yes, 2-0 Chelsea. They're also through to the semi-final. Then the other two matches, there was Tottenham versus West Ham, a London derby, in which Tottenham again, managed to score two goals. This was one was scored by Lucas Moura, and the other was scored by Steven Bergwijn. The opener by Steven Bergwijn was cancelled by West Ham's Jared Bowen, who just keeps scoring some great goals. He scored a great goal against Chelsea as well in the Premier League, and now he came up with this goal. But again, the fact that Tottenham were playing at home and they didn't really have to play much before the Liverpool game because of COVID, so maybe they looked a little fresh, and maybe that played a part. So yes, Tottenham managed to beat West Ham 2-1, and then the final game, which in my opinion was the most interesting game, was the Liverpool versus Leicester game. Maybe Leicester came to Anfield to prove a point or something that they wanted to really progress, because they knew that for Liverpool they at least have the Premier League, but Leicester already out of the Europa League, now in the UEFA Conference League. They wanted to win this, and they started well. Jim Vardy scored two goals, and then the goal of the night was scored by none other than James Maddison, who scored from distance. But I think it's the attitude of Liverpool players and the mentality with the cop supporting them as well, as the match was at Anfield. Uh, that they scored a late equalizer. Diego Jota, Takumi Minamino scored a late equalizer to make it 3-3, and then the game went to penalties, and their goalkeeper Kelleher, I think that's how you pronounce his name, uh, came of trumps in the penalty shootout, and Liverpool managed to win that game. So that's four teams: Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Tottenham. So it's Chelsea versus Tottenham in the semi-final, and it's Liverpool versus Arsenal in the semi-final, in the other semi-final of the Carabao Cup. So the games will be played in two ties. Chelsea will play Tottenham first at Stamford Bridge, and yeah, that's how it's going to work. So I think January 5th is the weekend. I think that is the weekend when both these matches are supposed to take place, and then the next week, the second leg of these matches will take place. Let's see who wins and who progresses to the final of the Carabao Cup. But yes, now we can move on to a different league. So let's move on to La Liga. The fact that Real Madrid were playing and they were playing away to Athletic Bilbao. I think this match looked a little difficult on paper, but the fact that Real Madrid were coming on the back of a nil-nil draw at home against Cadiz, they were, I think, fully up for this game. Karim Benzema again, their talismanic player, scored two early goals, and then they conceded a, an early goal actually in the 10th minute, the first goal by Athletic Bilbao. But since the 10th minute, there was no more goals in the game. Uh, three goals were scored within the first 10 minutes. But yes, Real Madrid kept their lead at the top, uh, and in fact even increased it because Sevilla, who were playing Barcelona, had a really good chance to keep up. Uh, they could just be 6 points behind Real Madrid with a game in hand, but that didn't really work out because they dropped points at home against Barcelona. Barcelona, who were struggling so much under their new coach Xavi, but in this game away to Sevilla, at least got away with a point. Uh, you have to wonder why Sevilla did not take this opportunity. I mean, they were there. I mean, if they were really serious about a title charge, then this is a game that they needed to win. Their defender Jules Koundé, who strongly linked with Chelsea, uh, he's centre back by trade, but he was playing as right back in this game, and he got sent off for a stupid, foul on Jordi Alba. I think he threw the ball at his face, and like, see, that's a stupid decision by him. There was no other decision than to give him a red card. He was shown a red card. He was off. Sevilla played almost the last 30 minutes of the game with 10 men, even though they didn't concede any goals. But yes, maybe that really helped them their chances of scoring a goal or a winner of their own, and the game stayed at 1-1. So yes, as Amitabh predicted in the last podcast, Sevilla versus Barcelona was a draw, and he was right. Now the other game again, wherein he was right, another La Liga game was Granada versus Atletico Madrid. I predicted that Atletico Madrid, on the back of two losses, at least in this game, they would, show their form, but it was not meant to be. They scored an opener early on. Maybe that looked like, that they mean business, but it wasn't meant to be. Uh, Granada scored an equalizer in the 17th minute, which was again a great goal, and then in the 61st, Jorge Molina, a 39-year-old striker, scored the winner, which again, let me just check the table, which leaves Atletico Madrid fifth now on 29 points. So they are 17 points behind leaders Real Madrid, although they do have a game in hand. But you never know if they're going to win that game that they have in hand now because of the form that they're in right now. So Real Madrid still top, but yes, they have also increased their lead to 8 points. But yes, Sevilla do have a game in hand. They look like they can probably walk away with the title. There was this one match that we can talk about in League One, which was PSG away to Lorient. Lorient, who were actually 19th in the table, are still 19th on 16 points, but they actually managed to take a point off of PSG. Uh, PSG defender Sergio Ramos, still his just third appearance, came on in the 60th minute, and then within a quick succession was shown two yellow cards. He was sent off. Uh, PSG already down by a goal. Mauro Icardi came up with equalizer in stoppage time. But yes, they're still 13 points ahead of second place team, that is Nice. And yeah, I think they're still 13 points ahead of me. Yeah, both the teams have played 19 points. So that's it for League One. I think there were no matches in Bundesliga. And we can now we can talk about the league, which had some interesting matches, which is Serie A. So we can talk about Juventus versus Cagliari, in which Juventus scored some great goals. I think Bernardeschi again, not again, but yeah, in this match, Bernardeschi was really had a good game. He was the one to provide the assist. He was trying to shoot from distance, but instead of the ball going in, Moise Keane touched that ball. I don't really think that he was trying to score, or maybe it was just an accident. But yes, it was his header uh, that 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 he scored from, and the credit for the first goal goes to him. And then Bernardeschi scored another goal in the second half to make it 2-0 for Juventus, playing at home against Cagliari, who I think are not in good form, who are 19th in the table under their coach Walter Mazzari. So yes, a real struggle for Cagliari, but yes, slowly and steadily, Juventus climbing up the table. They're fifth in the league now on 34 points. The other match that we can talk about is Atalanta versus Genoa. Atalanta, uh, on the back of a 4-1 loss at home to Roma, they actually needed to win this game, and also they really had a great away form. But in this match, luckily for Genoa and Shevchenko, they didn't lose a game. Uh, they had been losing so heavily in all their matches, and now finally they managed to win a game. At least not win, at least take a point against a big team. So yeah, they got a draw at home against Atalanta. It was a 0-0 draw. Nothing much to write about this game. Um, we can talk about the Venezia versus Lazio game. Maurizio Sarri's Lazio, they managed to win 3-1 away to Venezia. Pedro again defies all odds, doesn't look like he's 34, but he just keeps coming up with these bangers of goals. And another great goal scored by Pedro. Chervi scored a header from a corner. I think he's already in a fight with Lazio Ultras, who want him out of the club. But after scoring his goal, he silenced all the Ultras, and I don't really care what the Lazio's Ultras want, as long as the manager is happy with him and he's happy with the performance. I think he's going to stay at the club, being the captain that he is. Um, so yes, that's 3-1 for Lazio victory over Venezia. We can also talk about the records that Dusan Vlahovic has made. He has scored 33 goals in a calendar year. Uh, so he's the only player alongside Cristiano Ronaldo to have done that, I think, since 1960. And Vlahovic is just 21, doesn't turn 22 till next month. So he has his contract expiring in 2023, and already so many clubs have lined up for his signature. There's probably going to be a bidding war for him come summer. Um, and there were four more matches actually that we're going to talk about. One was Inter Milan at home to Torino. Torino under Ivan Juric, the manager who used to manage Hellas Verona last season, led them to I think eighth or ninth place finish in the league. Now managing Torino, he has made Torino really hard to beat, a really resolute side. So even they play with a back three. Inter Milan playing with a back three against Torino managed to win this game 1-0. Again, with Inter, it was a job done. And there are games where whether you play well or not, but you eke out a result, you manage to score one goal, and then you keep that lead for 90 minutes, and which was the case for Inter Milan. They're really consistent. I think in their last six games, they've not even conceded one goal, and they've scored a lot of goals. And the difference between this Inter Milan team than the one managed by Antonio Conte is that this Inter Milan team is actually playing good football. So I think they're my favorite to win the league. Uh, Inter Milan have already they've got a 4 point lead now. Second place team, that is AC Milan. Um, so after Inter Milan, we can talk about the Roma game. I mean, again, Roma doing Roma things. They're back to the way they're playing. They were before the game against Atalanta. They managed to beat Atlanta 4-1, but now instead of building on that game, they could only manage a 1-1 draw at home against Sampdoria. So not sure where they go from here, but yes, they do need to be a little more consistent. Otherwise, uh, at least if they want to finish in the top four. Uh, so yes, not a good result for Roma. Now we can talk about Napoli versus Spezia, which Spezia managed by former Inter Milan midfielder Thiago Motta. Uh, Napoli, again, such an indifferent form. They lost at home to Empoli, then they managed to beat AC Milan away, and now they've lost at home again, this time to Spezia. So I know that they've had all these injuries, but then if they could manage to win against AC Milan away with all those injuries, and they should have at least done so much better playing at home against uh, Spezia. Maybe the fact that the winter break has come in, it's a good time for them because by the time uh, they play their next match, they might have more players available from injury. But yes, they do need to be consistent uh, if they want to have any chances of a title. So let's talk about the last game, which was AC Milan away to Empoli. So it's a cycle, you know. Um, Empoli beat Napoli, then Napoli beat uh, AC Milan, and now AC Milan on the back of their loss to Napoli were playing Empoli. Were playing Empoli. So AC Milan managed to beat Empoli 4-2. I think in this game they were just so focused. They knew that this is not a game that they can drop points on. And this is what they did. They were so professional, so effective, so efficient. They managed to score 4 goals and conceded the late second. That was a penalty scored by Andrea Pinamonti. But yes, so the table in Serie A is the most interesting in my opinion. Inter Milan 46 points, 4 points ahead of AC Milan, who are only 3 points ahead of Napoli, who are on 39, and Napoli are just 1 point ahead of Atalanta. So there is a chasing pack. Juventus, Roma, Fiorentina, Lazio. All of these chance have all of these sides have a good chance of at least finishing fourth. So yeah, the race in Serie A is the most interesting in my opinion. I think so. I think this is it. So I know it was a short video and it was just me. So I hope you liked it. But yeah, thank you guys for being with us and ciao.